Now, notice what's happened. Suddenly, the FBI director says, cover up your webcam. It's watching you for decades. I told you that 20 years ago. I had national television make fun of me for covering up the sticker on my computer, even though it was known that hackers, governments, you name it, were accessing them. Now they admit, since Snowden revelations, it's been happening for, again, over a decade, as we warned you. But I had whistleblowers, formerly with the NSA and major engineers for telecoms, breaking down all of this to me 20 years ago. I had whistleblowers like Wayne Madsen on 20 years ago from the NSA. They want to control the future. They don't want to just predict the future with billions of people hooked into the web, telling them your hopes and dreams and where you're going to eat, what clothes you're going to buy, and where you want a vacation. They now can use stimuli with deals they offer and social pressure to make you conform to what they want you to do, first by very small degrees and finally by massive degrees. This is the final revolution against free will and humanity. And it's so cold-blooded that if we just collectively wake up to whatever they say is trendy, whatever they say is cool, knowing it's a fraud and liquid death, cultural death, humanity will overthrow this tyranny, just like the globalists put all their power in to stop Brexit, all their power in to put Hillary in, all their power to stop Italy to vote to start leaving the EU, and all of it's blowing up in their faces. Identifying them as the enemy, no matter how fancy their propaganda is or how good their virtual reality is, will end them with free will that trumps their matrix. Leanne McAdoo.
Well, Alex, you know, you kind of, when we left off with this first part of the segment, we were really getting into how Facebook is leading the charge here with creating this virtual reality and trying to convince all the dumb effers out there to freely give up their personal data. It's not enough that we're going to tell them what we're eating for breakfast and, you know, give up all of that personal data. Now they actually want to strap us into this virtual reality and freely mine data from our brains, from our emotions, our behavior.
You read from this earlier. This is mainstream news in their own statements. Go back through this, Leanne. This is chilling.
Yeah, and everyone recalls Facebook a couple years ago, they did that experiment where it was a massive emotional contagion through social network study where they were only on some feeds, they were showing people negative stories, and then on other feeds, they were showing people only positive stories to see how they could nudge people into feeling a certain way. So on a mass scale, they were secretly programming everyone. Well, that leads to what they're working on now with virtual reality and the Oculus Rift headset. They're calling this the next major computing platform, VR, and they're very excited about the fact that everyone is going to be living inside of an avatar. So avatars will form the foundation of your identity in virtual reality.
And then they can tax, control, rate you by that avatar score with governments and corporations in their own words.
Exactly.
Notice they say, it's the newest, coolest thing, like Google Glasses. It's the newest, coolest thing. Nobody wants it. It makes everybody nauseous. It's garbage, but they want to control reality. Just like Monsanto doesn't want any seeds for grass, pecan trees, fruit trees, wheat, bananas. They don't want plants to be able to replicate again. Okay, I mean, they want total control. They want kids that have 5 parents, so they own the patent. People have had their blood for 45 years in the U.S. and Europe taken and put in a secret UN database. I helped expose that 20 years ago. Now it's mainstream news. Then when you go in to get a new genome treatment, they go, oh, sorry, your blood got bought 25 years ago. This company owns that gene treatment.
Right.
So, but folks, this is an ultra-massive scientific takeover plan. But if we're aware of it and don't act like dumb animals, it's game over. InfoWars told you all this from their own white papers decades ago. Now it's here, folks. Better listens. I mean, I'm sorry to lecture people. This is serious crap.
No, it's true. They want it all. And it's not just about advertising. I mean, that's what, of course, all of the cookies and the trackers and everything
we want
is
your
used for
soul.
now. They want, that's not enough for them. They don't want to know what your habits are in the internet. They want to freely mine data from your bodies, your head movements, your facial expressions. But they say the ultimate goal is to unlock human emotion so that they can figure out how to use your online avatar to nudge you into certain behavioral programming in these virtual reality worlds. And then, of course, you know, that's how you're going to act in the real world.
And nudge is Cass Sunstein, the White House regulations czar, who in 2006 at Harvard and then at Chicago Business School wrote, we'll license conspiracy theories, people that question us, as fake news. We'll find them, and then we'll put them in electronic ghettos. These are words he used. And they said, what are examples? His students did. And he said, if someone says moderate sunlight is needed to be healthy. And they, again, the sun isn't good now. These people want to play God. Look it up. And then now Obama last weekend signed the bill. So again, realize the magnitude.
Well, this was the EPA came out with that big report last year saying sunlight is bad for plants. Are you kidding me? What? It's madness. It's total madness.
Again, and they want to feed us garbage. They admit this to see, now they know that we've exposed their fake news and they're falling apart. They said, fine, flood everything with even more disinfo to jam everything and just create societal disintegration. And then the elites don't give their kids iPads, Steve Jobs. The elites drink filtered water, eat only non-GMO, and stay sequestered away from it all, cold-bloodedly carrying it out on us, while totally shielding themselves. They all admit this.
Right, and I consider myself to be a pretty awake individual, but even I have started to feel a little insane lately just with the news. There's so much double speak.
Insanity is exploding.
Yes.
Mental illness is exploding. This is 21st century warfare.
I mean, it is the gaslighting, and it is being very effective. So if it's having an effect on me, I can't imagine the effect it's having on the average person.
I mean, Obama talks about let's stop wars while he funds Arab Springs, wars against Israel.
He gets the Nobel Peace Prize when he's the one that's bombing most of the countries and you know, doesn't even keep account of the innocent people that he's killing.
That's why we've all got a forest bay. They call it forest therapy in Japan. Get out in nature, get out in the forest. We've all got to start unplugging more and more as therapy to come back even stronger when we have to jack into the matrix.
Exactly. And so that's what people need to understand. You know, when you go into these internet ghettos or plug into the VR, you are plugging into the matrix. But at least if you can go in there with your humanity intact, then maybe you can help wake other people up. But
and again, let's be clear. Why are we doing this expanded part 2? They've openly announced it's AI listening to you, watching you, calling the cops if you spank your kids, even though it's not illegal. They openly admit all this, okay? They didn't tell me 14 years ago when my son was being born, when I went to the hospital, that they had a computer asking, do you have enough money? When I was out of the room, they asked my wife if I was mean to her. And later when I found out, they said, sir, it goes in the health department. Back then they had human spies. Now it's you pay, because you get discounts with Amazon or whatever, to have a little robot listening to you, watching you, much worse than even what's on your phone. And you pay to have this in your house, tracking your life, and it's literally preying on you. And they don't even deny it now. They say, it's preying on you, you will submit. I showed that in the first segment. This is, again, breaking our will, trying to demoralize us, trying to make us feel like we're weird, that we don't want to live in Big Brother.
Well, and also, too, the thing that's also really infuriating is that we know that these the Internet of Things is going to be used by government, law enforcement, things
already
like
has
that.
been.
Right, but it's also going to be used by your 12-year-old little internet hacking geek who thinks it's really cool to hack into their neighbor's home and lock them out of their house, you know, do God knows
what. And notice they're already saying, oh, suddenly the Internet of Things and your smart house is going to be hacked. They left it wide open. Oh, now we need more advanced robot systems to protect you. Now your house, because everything's being hacked, needs robot sentries, which are really the higher grade corporate bots, to spy on you as your guardians. The old saying in security is, it's your bodyguard that ends up killing you.
Right. Well, and we
just like JFK. So again, think about this, Leanne. This is a cold-blooded military globalist deployment.
Well, and also at the same time as the president is threatening retaliation against Russia for somehow interfering with our elections, we are inviting them into our own home with this Internet of Things, because hackers are ubiquitous.
That's
They're all over the globe.
what they've been using in the latest big giant attacks is the Internet of Things. You don't know how to program your security cameras, your smart refrigerator, your whatever. That's what they're hitting and using to bring down major systems.
Right, and they're totally violating your civil rights. And thanks to the Digital Millennium Act, you're not allowed, if you understand the code, you're not allowed to open up your refrigerator, your washing machine, and figure out how to change the code in it so it stops violating your civil rights. Horse
controls and admitting it. Remember, none of this is our opinion. Now, it's all admitted, just like I told people 20 years ago, because engineers were telling us, smart meters are the beginning of the Internet of Things. They're going to tax you by the hour. They're going to control your temp. They're going to rip you off. It was Enron came up with it. Now they're all over the country. And they, by the way, interface as a wireless hub with the Internet of Things in your house.
Right, and that's what their experts are asking now. Will 2017 be the year your home becomes under attack from cyber criminals? So why they want us, you know, they want us to all be so afraid of the Russia and the Chinese, but then they're also setting us up to be targets of cyber criminals anywhere with anything.
And let's look at propaganda. There's hundreds of articles on the Chicago Tribune. Zuckerberg builds artificial intelligence assistant to run his house, entertain toddler. That's like, oh, he's such a whiz kid. He just invented it on his own, like the Jetsons, and has a non-threatening name, Jarvis. You know, they had focus groups for years. What's the most non-threatening thing for this AI robot hooked in that we're going to watch and listen to you with and track everything you do that'll even take care of your kids? Some outside hooked up deal. And again, just a year ago, they were still calling me a kook, saying, your smartphones are tracking you. Now everyone's going, Alex, they track me. Yes, I know.
Well, think about, too, how shocked parents were when they didn't realize that when they were taking a picture of their kid and uploading it to Facebook, predators were using the geotag information on those pictures that if you're just the average person, you don't know about that stuff. But people who are pedophiles and predators would go look in the geotag and say, oh, this person has a really cute kid in this area. I mean,
that's right. And just 2 years ago, we would break down how they're putting up light poles all over Chicago that have microphones and cameras. People wouldn't even believe it, even though we had the documents. Or we exposed 6-7 years ago the separate cell towers they're using to grab all our cell data illegally. And now, again, Leanne, why do you think just suddenly they're just like, oh, here it is. You know, it's the end of your freedom. They even say stuff like that. We've made you obsolete. Nothing you can do.
Well, because humanity has awakened, and they see it now with Brexit, with Donald Trump getting in, with people are very angry. They're not buying the bull. We turn that fake news narrative right around on them.
And I agree. And now we got to take it to the next level and say, okay, now it's the AI. Not the technology's bad, but the way it's being deployed.
Right.
Take all the smart tech and all new cars globally made for 10 years. Global standardization. We're already under global government to a great extent, regulatorily. Every major country that manufactures cars or whatever has boxes that track you by the mile that are already wireless that you pay, they estimate, over $1,000 per car. They don't even tell you in the car to track you, and when they're ready, flip switches and tax you. Right. What a load of crap, man. There's no law. They just put it in.
Right. I mean, they're just setting up this entire society. And don't buy the crap that, oh, we just want to make it fun for you. We just want to give you this virtual reality for it's fun for the kids. They say that this is an unnamed Silicon Valley chief data scientist saying this. He says the goal of everything we do is to change people's actual behavior at scale. They're going to capture your behaviors. They're going to identify the good people and the bad people, and they're going to develop ways to reward you for being good and then punish you for being bad. They want to control you in every single way.
And that's called...
They want to be in your thoughts, your dreams. They want it all.
They want it all. They want your soul. It's called brainwashing. Now, Leanne, I tend to get a little bit hysterical. You do too, because we care. When we're here privately at the office, we're very calm, very subdued. We start looking at hundreds of articles where they admit we're making a world without you. This makes you vulnerable. We're going to brainwash you. We're already controlling you. I told people, again, 6-7 years ago that they want to control the future. Now they admit all this. I was being given classified information. People now don't laugh about that. They know Hillary attacks us by name. Foreign governments, are coming after us as well because, folks, the elite believe you're over. They believe you're done. They believe you're an unconscious idiot that doesn't care if you're being programmed. Well, here's the difference. Those are people that don't want to be conscious and be slaves. Maybe they never had the spark of consciousness. I do. And I innately, so does Leanne, so does this crew, so do the viewers, people that resonate with this. That's why they're trying to racially divide us, and the rest of it is because they're trying to divide humanity because the globalists are targeting us like they're a breakaway species. That's what Google and Ray Kurzweil and all of them say. They're breaking away to become gods. We'll be like bugs they just step on. Those are quotes. Well, here's the deal. I'm not a bug to be stepped on. Zuckerberg looks like a little vampire demon. I see exactly what he's doing. And just because I don't have the instinct to dominate people that aren't as smart as me doesn't mean I'm subhuman. So, Leanne, let's talk about some more of these articles and other thoughts. But this is epic what we're in the middle of. This is an incredible time to be alive. And you've shown the power you have to reject their system.
Right. Well, and we were kind of talking a little bit earlier about the gaslighting effect. Perfect example of that is you had a New York Times lamenting the fact that people flipped that fake news narrative around. And the guy was saying, you know, they're just saying everything that goes against their agenda is fake news. And it's like, no, that's exactly what you're doing by trying to call everything fake news.
They say Trump wants nuclear war when everybody admits that's being serious, that he's all about détente.
Right. I mean, it is gaslighting, and we all know that is a psychological...
For folks that don't know, explain. It was in a film in the 30s. It got picked up by the CIA as a real technique, where it's like you beat your wife or whatever, and you have 2 or 3 people say, no, he didn't hit you.
Yeah, no, the light's not flickering, but the light continues to flicker, and you're like, I swear that light is flickering.
And then they make you feel insane with peer pressure.
They make you go crazy, and that's exactly what we are hearing with all this doublespeak.
They use our innate mammal instincts to work as a tribe for the betterment of the good because we believe we're all on the same team against us. And they go, no, Obamacare's free. There's no IRS penalties. You're like, well, I just got it in the mail. They took it out of my account. No, they didn't, racist.
You can keep your doctor.
And you're like, oh, okay. And you're just like, yeah. You're like, fine, I love Obama. Oh.
Yeah. No,
Obama.
They're truly trying to make us all mental. And it's just...
It's a cult. It's like, you don't say Christmas. Now you don't say holidays. You know, it's always more. You know, you don't say you have a mommy and daddy. That's hateful. Somebody else doesn't have a mommy and daddy. And right. You think they're mentally ill. No, they're not. They sit back, these professors that say kill all the whites and they're white. A lot of them have admitted they're on payrolls. There's really psychological warfare experts who are really freaking evil, man. And they get off on jacking with everybody. And I personally get really pissed.
Me too.
I mean, it's like I've seen people only a few times picking on a Down syndrome person. I mean, when I was growing up in Dallas, I saw him picking on somebody a few times. And then I saw him punch him in the stomach for no reason, some thug kids. And I'm not saying I'm some hero, but I mean, I hurt him bad. I tore one guy's nose basically off. And my dad got sued and all the rest of it. You know, he won the lawsuit. And I mean, the thing is, I saw somebody beating up on a, but see, it's bad if I say a mentally retarded kid. Beating him up is okay. Just don't call him mentally retarded. Call him whatever word they say, mentally handicapped.
Right.
Again, the point is...
And you're bad for calling him the wrong word.
Exactly. And there's so many facets to that. The point is there's this innate stuff to stand up against bullies. That's what men are supposed to do. We're all having our culture, our civilization, our humanity stripped by a bunch of scum like Zuckerberg that call us dumb effers. Well, listen, you bastard, I'm not a dumb effer. And just because you came from people that didn't have souls doesn't mean I don't have mine. And I see you, you damn demon.
Well, and the thing that's funny is Zuckerberg, he does think he's above everyone else, and he probably thinks that he's doing a good job for the government by creating this virtual world so that everyone can just plug in and just go and, they can get our energy off of us. We'll just be human batteries because in the interim, they're trying to figure out what to do with all of us because we have no jobs. We have nothing to do. Our food has been destroyed.
They designed the post-industrial world. They said it all. They engineered this cataclysm. Why the future doesn't need us.
Right. Well, and speaking of that, just even with Star Wars, Carrie Fisher just died, and they're saying, Disney's facing a Star Wars-sized dilemma over the loss of Carrie Fisher.
Notice they just brought her back synthetically in the last movie.
And that's what they're gonna. That's kind of the way they're moving with all movies, is that they're going away from human actors.
They say John Wayne's coming back.
Right, and they can put his face on another person's body or just digitally alter it. And we reported on this last year. They're actually working on face swap software, which a lot of people go these Snapchat filters. All that is helping them build this database where they can get the structures of anybody's face and swap it. I know we've got some B-roll there where they're working on this technology. And talk about fake news. So I can sit in a room and say whatever I want, and then on the television, you'll see George W. Bush speaking and saying whatever I'm telling him to say. I mean, this is insane. No one's going to know what's real or fake.
It's a Pandora's box. And whether Atlantis was real or not, the ideal that Plato wrote about, which he believed was real, is happening. They got such advanced technology, they blew themselves up. Okay, supposedly this mythical kingdom with planes and everything else that he envisioned,
right.
Out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, that it blew up. Well, the point is we're reaching that point where whether that was real or not, it's happening.
Right.
And the elites are doing things with GMO and all this that's already killing humans, already causing massive immune system problems. That's allergies. We're already in deep crisis. We've gone from 1 in 30,000 kids with autism to 1 in 58. Mm-hmm. South Korea is like 1 in 32. They admit all sorts of stuff dying. And again, there's a fake environmental movement, never worried about all the real environmental stuff. They want to tax carbon dioxide that plants live off of.
And cow farts.
And cow farts. I mean, again, it's like insane demons took over. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe this literally. The media picks up on this. It's like the interdimensional demons, like the Bible said, jumped over dimensions like Buckaroo Banzai and are infesting people because they're acting like aliens that are like changing the atmosphere and trying to kill our species.
Right.
I mean, the frickin' elite admit they want to merge with machines, become gods, get rid of us. And they're acting like they've been hijacked by intergalactic, interdimensional demons.
Right. I mean, Ray Kurzweil, he's, I forget his title there at Google, but he's there using Google's massive supercomputers to help him with his vision of uploading himself to a computer, living forever. I mean, this is real.
And he said, I don't believe in God, yet I'm going to become God.
Exactly. And it's totally
Man, I've been jumping in. So this has been great, Banner, but spend a few minutes just streaming consciousness, and then I will.
Well, for myself, I mean, I agree with you. Just getting back in nature and really tapping into the humanity, never second guessing your instincts, because that's something they're really trying to, make us second guess the way we really feel about things. And then they're just bombarding us with all this advertisement and all of their fake news, and then trying to control our thoughts, control the words we use. I mean, that's how tyranny begins, is by them telling you how you're allowed to speak, what you're allowed to think, controlling the language, telling you words mean total opposite of what you've always, now there's 30 plus genders, not just male and female. All of a sudden, just in the last year or so, science has been wrong. I mean, what is happening here?
Total confusion.
It's total confusion. And I believe, that's what people really need to do, is just tap back into their humanity. You talk about, there's like a famous video of you out there where you're like, I'm a man, I like to eat, I like to fight. I mean, that's what people need to get back to, is just embracing what makes us human. And stop thinking that we're going to be better than what God has already created. Here we've got this article where scientists, the US and China, are really pushing forward. They want to stage these mass trials where they're going to do gene editing. So they think that they're going to be able to take out these inheritable diseases like cancer and other diseases. And
all this is the public rollout. But then they admit they want to cut out things that they don't like, including not submitting to government.
Right. And they're going to make everyone just completely the same. We're all the same. Nobody's different. We're being taught that right now, that nobody's special.
We're going to become machines.
Right. And we are their test program. I mean, they are testing it on us right now with these GMO foods that they know are killing us, killing our environment, putting the bees on the endangered species list because the bees are dying from these genetically modified foods.
They admit they can program GMO to go into your cells and reprogram you.
Right. I mean, they've already got the nanobots. I mean, it's like, it's almost like it's too late, but I'd rather go out just fighting than just, succumbing to all the cancers.
It's pure
and
evil.
tumors.
I mean, these elite are just pure scum.
Well, and in this story, so we have an author of Modern Prometheus, Editing the Human Genome. He's really speaking out against this decision to edit people's DNA, saying, if you take out diseases like Asperger's, autism, schizophrenia, depression, you are going to wipe out geniuses from the earth, because it's people like Thomas Edison or Tennessee Williams or the artists that that depression or that bipolarness or even the Asperger's makes them brilliant in a certain way.
Exactly, but beyond that, they're going to standardize it, just like they're going to try to make cesarean section for every woman, or say women shouldn't breastfeed, it never happened, didn't exist.
Right.
They admit they're taking us out of our normal environment to make us more subservient, and they're moving to make everyone go through this gene sequencing. They're already trying to make women, quote, get gene tested. Then they tell you, oh, you're all getting cancer because of your genes. No, you are predisposed if you add 3 packs of cigarettes a day or radiation or whatever the case is with these genes for it to then kill you. But all these diseases are exploding and our life expectancy is going down because the globalists admittedly are, as you said, practicing and testing on us, Leanne.
Well, and they're so evil and greedy with these corporations, even knowing that you're getting cancers from plastics and aluminum foil, giving you Alzheimer's.
Bayer knew for a decade they were shipping out factor 8 to hundreds of thousands of hemophiliacs that had HIV in it, and their corporate guys got caught in the lawsuit going, so what? We need to get rid of these hemophiliacs. These are a bunch of assholes.
Right. There's too many people on the planet. Who cares if we're giving you Alzheimer's?
Yeah. They've been put in there by shareholders that aren't even thinking what's going on. As long as the psychopath gets me more money, I don't care. You're getting the money back, but most of the shareholders aren't even psychopaths. There's a psychopath in there who's doing all sorts of criminality and getting with other psychopaths to create corporate boards that are basically invincible because they've got such a group of evil at the top running humanity into the ground and believing, like psychopaths do, that they're invincible when they're not. They've got to be stopped.
I just feel like it's really bubbling up at this point. We always talk about, what a time to be alive. But I mean, just look at the fact that we've got, 20-something days before President Obama is out of the White House, President Trump will get in, and they want to go to war. I mean, they want to go to war, start a war, so then Trump will have to deal with it. It's almost, and they're pivoting to Islam. They're throwing Israel away, another slap in the face right before Obama leaves office, saying, you know what, you choose, you be a Jewish
And exactly whether you love Israel or hate Israel doesn't matter. It's a cold-blooded pivot for destabilization to start a big Middle East war and intifada that'll strengthen any of the expansionist aims of Israel. But then because the globalists control the white supremacists and the Arab leaders, they don't even see they're walking into a trap. I'm geopolitical, I'm Machiavelli in my understanding, not in my application, not in what I do. And it's just like, they don't even get it. It's all staged. It's going to create a great, huge world crisis, and you don't even care because it just feels good to say F Israel. And meanwhile, it's to try to derail nationalism.
Right. Well, and it's also, too, just you see the left and you see the globalists, they really are pivoting to Islam. It's the fastest growing religion. There's going to be billions of people
1 billion, 300 million of them.
And it's just like they went with the minorities here, then they went to the illegal aliens here. That's the new cherished group that they want to give all the benefits to.
The globalists are allying themselves with the poorest, most uneducated, backwards groups to bring down the West. And it's not that the West is even perfect, it's that they don't want a middle class.
Right.
This is the war against the middle class. So what do we call this special report, Leanne? The first part was 10 minutes. This is probably, 20-something minutes long. It's great to have these free-flow talks with you because it really gets us both to spur and have these great banners back and forth. The commenters below, I hope you shoot your own videos on this subject, all of us together. I don't just say that to patronize you like, oh, and make your own video, your own article about this. When all of you start writing, start posting, start blogging, start doing your own videos on different subjects and stuff we didn't even get into, it creates an unstoppable wave of awakening. It's a chain reaction in humans and the sixth sense and the spiritual and the higher dimensions we can activate and access. We're made in the image of God. Look, we've already built that will overcome this. And this is God's great test for us. And I want you to be part of that. And I want you to help teach me and Leanne as well. So what we're saying to you is, this is an epic time to be alive, and we love you, and we want to come together and use the good parts of technology to empower us, not the Trojan horse that's been given, the twisted version, to enslave us. And so now's the time to be involved. Now's the time. It isn't work to do this. They get you in kind of a lazy trance. It isn't work. It's animating. You're meant to be fighting for liberty. You're meant to be building. You're meant to be creating. You're meant to be striving. And so this is the great battle. What do we call this? Top AI scientist. Our goal is to brainwash the public. Top AI, globalists admit AI systems to control the public. I mean, this is everything you were told. This is everything we warned you about. I had NSA whistleblowers, and when I got one, I got another. And when you say NSA, it was Time Warner people. It was AT&T people. I mean, these were guys that were driving Bentleys and Mercedes, okay? And then these were guys that were meeting me in person and saying, do you have your cell phone? Do you have your cell phone? When I was doing a video signing or at the rodeo doing a broadcast, 20 years ago. And they'd say, it's a future predicting system. Have you read Isaac Asimov's The Foundation? Well, that's the real plan. And it's the futurist society. And they can already predict the future. Next is controlling it. Now, listen, I got patents in this. And I don't care about the 100 million I made, Alex. You've got to warn the people. And then I get one guy, and then I get more. Then they have army guys in plain clothes beat the hell out of me in a parking lot. Folks, I've been living this for real. Okay, you understand? This isn't a joke. It isn't a conspiracy theory. They've got all the fake news sites and fake conspiracy sites spewing race crap and alien stuff they can't prove to then discredit all the real stuff that's happening now.
Right.
Leanne, I want you to make closing comments for 5 minutes. And to do that, I'm going to leave the room because we just banter off each other and it's riveting info. Leanne, you take over here, and I'm going to go in and get ready to shoot some other important reports. But just, you're kicking ass. Let's get a close shot here on Leanne McAdoo if we can. And again, if you're watching this transmission, you're the resistance.
Thank you, Alex. Well, and just to kind of piggyback off what Alex had to say about creating your own videos out there, this is absolutely what you have to do. It's a very small percentage of the population that's necessary to advance the evolution of humanity, to awaken people. Hillary Clinton and her ilk, they were so surprised they could not even fathom the fact that all this fake news. Yes,
I gotta say that.
It goes over like wildfire.
Leanne makes two good points. That's their weak spot. That's their weak spot, is again, they got demonic scum running the AI, so that's why we can still defeat them. You understand, folks? That's a great point, Leanne. They're not invincible.
Right, they're absolutely, they didn't see it coming. And the ideas, human truth, our human nature, it spreads like wildfire. And so that's why it is important for you to put your videos out there. And it's also so important to not check yourself, not check your gut instinct and say, oh, is someone gonna think I'm racist or call me crazy or call me a conspiracy theorist if I wanna talk about certain ideas that aren't politically correct. That's what they have done to try and program you and trap you and lock your mind in their cage that they're building and setting up for you and disallowing you from tapping into your human divinity and our human instincts. And that's the whole thing. Get out in nature, clear your mind, get some fresh air, see what kind of ideas you come up with when you get off of your cell phone or whatever little computer virtual reality prison that you have created for yourself. And just understand that we really truly are in a war here. And as Jones referenced earlier, these globalists, these futurists, they'll tell you their agenda is going to take place, 2040, 2045. It's already here. And they kind of do that to get a leg up on us. And so they think that if they can, put the time, way back here, that we'll think we got plenty of time. We don't need to plan for that takeover. That's not even gonna happen in, 2 more decades. It's already here. They're already trying to figure out what they can do with us when it's time to wipe humanity off the map because they don't need us anymore. The future doesn't need us. That's what they're trying to convince us of. They're trying to steal this planet from us while they're destroying it systematically, but then gaslighting all of us, telling us that we need to feel guilty for breathing air while they are actually physically, literally destroying the planet that we live on. All right, that's it for today. This was a very important report. I think there's going to be a lot more of this coming out. And if you were one of those people that happened to purchase some of these Internet of Things or virtual reality headsets for your family at Christmas time, don't feel bad about it, but go into these things with your humanity intact and make sure that you're spending more time in the real world, in the world that God created for all of us to enjoy, nature. Make sure you're tapping into that more so than you are into these systematic machine prisons that are being built to enslave humanity.
3 years ago, the Congress in the National Defense Authorization Act repealed the law that had been on the books for decades, barring the CIA and other agencies from engaging in domestic propaganda and disinformation. Over the weekend, they passed the Countering Disinformation and Propaganda Act that funds $160+ million to this new organization that will, quote, discover and counter with its own disinformation, alternative media that they dub fake news. At the very same time, we see mainstream media claiming that Trump, myself, Tucker Carlson, you name it, are Russian agents, and that the American people really wanted Hillary Clinton, but the Russians somehow hacked in, and that's why Trump won. Yes, we've gotten Trump elected, but they're openly trying to overthrow that. Now more than ever, InfoWars needs your prayers and your support, and I need you to take the articles and the videos that are on the site and realize you're the reason we're having such an effect. You're the power of InfoWars. Get those articles, get those videos, get those special reports out to everyone you know. As we approach Christmas, I'm not even supposed to say that word now, our country's under such incredible thought police tyranny. It's important to be thankful, and I am extremely thankful to all of you that have prayed for us, that have spread the word about the broadcast, that have supported us, that have defended us, and that have financially supported us. we go out and search for the very best products, and we also develop amazing products and then bring them to you at very competitive prices. So when we have a sale, it really is a sale. That's why this week through the 17th, we can guarantee you'll get delivery before Christmas. Again, if you order by this Friday, the 17th, and you will get store-wide free shipping at InfoWarsStore.com. And on top of that, some of the biggest discounts of the year. 30% off Living Defense Parasite Cleanse, 50% off Colloidal Silver Bullet, and free shipping. That is just an incredible deal. Brain Force Plus, now with 20% more in each bottle and 30% off. $19.95, can't beat that deal. Winter Sun, Vitamin D3, 25% off. Survival Shield, X2, Nascent Iodine, again, an amazing 30% off. BioTrue Selenium, 30% off, and that's just some of the specials. Check them out today at InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll free. The great crew will answer your questions, tell you about some of the other specials, and take your order if you'd like. 888-253-3139. And finally, from myself, Alex Jones, and the rest of the InfoWars crew and my family, I want to wish all of you a blessed and Merry Christmas. Now, notice what's happened. Suddenly, the FBI director says, cover up your webcam. It's watching you for decades. I told you that 20 years ago. I had national television make fun of me for covering up the sticker on my computer, even though it was known that hackers, governments, you name it, were accessing them. Now they admit, since Snowden revelations, it's been happening for, again, over a decade, as we warned you. But I had whistleblowers, formerly with the NSA and major engineers for telecoms, breaking down all of this to me 20 years ago. I had whistleblowers like Wayne Madsen on 20 years ago from the NSA. They want to control the future. They don't want to just predict the future with billions of people hooked into the web, telling them your hopes and dreams and where you're going to eat and what clothes you're going to buy and where you want a vacation. They now can use stimuli with deals they offer and social pressure to make you conform to what they want you to do, first by very small degrees and finally by massive degrees. This is the final revolution against free will and humanity. And it's so cold-blooded that if we just collectively wake up to whatever they say is trendy, whatever they say is cool, knowing it's a fraud and liquid death, cultural death, humanity will overthrow this tyranny, just like the globalists put all their power in to stop Brexit, all their power in to put Hillary in, all their power to stop Italy to vote to start leaving the EU, and all of it's blowing up in their faces. Identifying them as the enemy, no matter how fancy their propaganda is or how good their virtual reality is, will end them with free will that trumps their matrix. Leanne McAdoo.
Well, Alex, you know, you kind of, when we left off with this first part of the segment, we were really getting into how Facebook is leading the charge here with creating this virtual reality and trying to convince all the dumb effers out there to freely give up their personal data. It's not enough that we're going to tell them what we're eating for breakfast and, you know, give up all of that personal data. Now they actually want to strap us into this virtual reality and freely mine data from our brains, from our emotions, our behavior.
You read from this earlier. This is mainstream news in their own statements. Go back through this, Leanne. This is chilling.
Yeah, and everyone recalls Facebook a couple years ago, they did that experiment where it was a massive emotional contagion through social network study where they were only on some feeds, they were showing people negative stories, and then on other feeds, they were showing people only positive stories to see how they could nudge people into feeling a certain way. So on a mass scale, they were secretly programming everyone. Well, that leads to what they're working on now with virtual reality and the Oculus Rift headset. They're calling this the next major computing platform, VR, and they're very excited about the fact that everyone is going to be living inside of an avatar. So avatars will form the foundation of your identity in virtual reality.
And then they can tax, control, rate you by that avatar score with governments and corporations in their own words.
Exactly.
Notice they say, it's the newest, coolest thing, like Google Glasses. It's the newest, coolest thing. Nobody wants it. It makes everybody nauseous. It's garbage, but they want to control reality, just like Monsanto doesn't want any seeds for grass, pecan trees, fruit trees, wheat, bananas. They don't want plants to be able to replicate again. Okay, I mean, they want total control. They want kids that have 5 parents, so they own the patent. People have had their blood for 45 years in the U.S. and Europe taken and put in a secret UN database. I helped expose that 20 years ago. Now it's mainstream news. Then when you go in to get a new genome treatment, they go, oh, sorry, your blood got bought 25 years ago. This company owns that gene treatment.
Right.
So, but folks, this is an ultra-massive scientific takeover plan. But if we're aware of it and don't act like dumb animals, it's game over. InfoWars told you all this from their own white papers decades ago. Now it's here, folks. Better listen. I mean, I'm sorry to lecture people. This is serious crap.
No, it's true. They want it all. And it's not just about advertising. I mean, that's what, of course, all of the cookies and the trackers and everything
we want
is
your
used for
soul.
now. They want, that's not enough for them. They don't want to know what your habits are in the internet. They want to freely mine data from your bodies, your head movements, your facial expressions. But they say the ultimate goal is to unlock human emotion so that they can figure out how to use your online avatar to nudge you into certain behavioral programming in these virtual reality worlds. And then, of course, you know, that's how you're going to act in the real world.
And nudge is Cass Sunstein, the White House regulations czar, who in 2006 at Harvard and then at Chicago Business School wrote, we'll license conspiracy theories, people that question us, as fake news. We'll find them, and then we'll put them in electronic ghettos. These are words he used. And they said, what are examples? His students did. And he said, if someone says moderate sunlight is needed to be healthy, and